This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, day agenda. So day agenda, filtering data frames, filtering the data, and then sorting a data frame, and cleaning the data frame. So this is the agenda. So and then we can start Matplotlib. And types of plots. So let's see how it is happen one by one. So let's make first topic as a heading, filtering the data. So in the real-time scenario, in the real-time environment, we are getting the data from environment. That data may be having some kind of unwanted data. So in that case, we need to filter it, and that maybe comes under also cleaning. But filtering means out of the given data, if you want to get a particular data, that can called as a filter. Okay, so accessing a particular data, particular data or info out of or else from given data frame. So accessing a particular data or information from a given data frame is called as a filtering. So let's see how to perform a filtering. So for that you need to take one data set from GitHub repository. So then we are going to apply a filtering based on that data set only. Okay. So for that, open the GitHub. So we are already provided the GitHub links in the yesterday. So the data science using Python internship. We have the notebooks. In the previous class, I'm already mentioned one data set, that is weather.csv. So let's take that one only. So pandas day 23, we have already a CSV file, that is weather.csv. So I'm going to take that weather.csv file. So we are going to apply filtering techniques with respect to this weather.csv file only. So for that, I'm just opening it and copy this link, and it is a small data set. And I'm going to mention this dataset link for you in the chat box. Try to copy this link. Okay. For filtering or anything, we need to take the data. So the first step is read the data. That is the first step in any kind of data science or ML projects. The first step is we need to take the data. So for that, you should know how to take the data from outside environment. So now if I want to load this weather.csv file, how can I load it? Let me know your responses in the chat box. The first step is we need to take the data set, right? So how to take the data? Yeah, if it is a CSV file, we have a one method to read it, to load that CSV kind of formats. What is that method? Yeah, the method is read underscore CSV. And if you are using read underscore CSV means this should be one kind of inbuilt method. So that is came from Pandas or data frames. How can you read that? Yeah, we can use pandas. With that pandas only, we are going to use this method read underscore CSV. It is not comes under data frames. The method read underscore CSV is there inside the pandas library, not in data frames. Okay, data frames is different. So data frame means when you create a method, when you use data frame method to create any kind of data frames, that data can be called as a data frames. That means the data frames are also going to be created with the help of pandas. So basically this read underscore CSV method is there inside the pandas only, not in the data frames. Okay, first of all, for that we need to import pandas. The first step is import pandas. Import pandas as PD. And then while loading any kind of data or while reading the data, you need to mention one kind of variable. Okay, so with respect to that variable only, we're going to load our input. We are going to load our data set. So for that, I'm just taking one variable, that is df. Okay, so df equals to, you need to mention that method pd dot read underscore csv. So this method is to read csv kind of format data sets. So there inside this, you can mention that path. You can mention that path. Whatever I posted you in the chat box, try to copy and paste it here inside the parenthesis along with quotes. The first step is done, completed. So we are taking the data and mentioning with read underscore csv method. And after that, if I want to display the first 5 rows, you can use df.head. And it is a small data set, so that I can display all the rows and columns. Now, if you observe here, it having totally 11 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. It having 11 rows and 5 columns. So that means totally it having 12 rows. The default index can start from 0. Okay, so totally it having 12 rows and 5 columns. If I want to know the rows and columns of the given data set, how can I know that? What is the method to find out that? If I want to know the number of rows of and number of columns of this data set, how can you get that? What is the method to find out number of rows and number of columns? What about rest of them? What is the method? Yeah, we have one method, that is shape. Shape will gives you number of rows and number of columns. And if you take info will gives you along with the number of rows and columns, as well as it will gives you the data type of every row or every column. Okay, so I want to know only the rows and columns. In that case, I can prefer shape only, because shape will gives you number of rows and number of columns. When you take info will gives you the number of rows as well as columns, and it will gives you some information like what is the data type of that particular row having and what it is storing, which data type it is storing. Okay, so that is the difference between info and shape. Majorly, whenever you want to find out the rows and columns, you can use shape only. Okay, if you want to get the number of rows and columns of the given data set, you can use data frame dot shape. That will gives you the number of rows of that particular data set and columns of that particular data set. Now we have a data set in the variable of df, so I can use shape. Okay, so it will gives you the number of rows and columns. Now you can observe here it having totally 12 rows and 5 columns. Okay, so after taking the data, you have to do some kind of analyzation. You should do some analyze. So that is like you need to know how many rows and how many columns. That is a major step. After reading the data, you should know how many rows and how many columns. And after that, you can do some kind of statistical information like that dot info. So data frame dot info will gives you a particular kind of information like how much data type it can stores and what is that and how many memory allocation of it. Okay, so if you want to know about statistical information, you can use like df dot describe. These are all three steps comes under data pre-processing, data visualization. For the in the first step only, it will takes all these steps. Taking the data, find out the shape, find out the information, find out the description. So this, the describe method will gives you the statistical information like count, mean, median, standard deviation, 50% of the data, and maximum values, minimum values, all those things. Whenever you want to get the statistical information about entire data set, you can use describe method. We already done that in yesterday, right? So these are all the things we need to do at the first step. taking the data and then find out the shape and find out the information and find out the statistical information of that given data set. Okay, so this is common all in any kind of data set. So if you see, okay, now let's see, I have a data with the df variable. So if I want to get the first 5 rows, I can give df dot head. So head will gives you the first 5 rows of the given data set. Out of this data set, in the given data set, if I want to access this day column, so if you observe here, the day column should be in the format of string or date and time format. What is the type of the day column? Data type of the day column. Let me know your responses in the chat box. If you observe the data set, in the data set we have 5 columns. In the first column we have day. That day should be in the format of some kind of day, date and month and year. But when you observe the type of the day column, either it is an object or date and time format. Yeah, anything in the Python is object only. Okay, so it is a kind of format of object only. When you find out the information like info method, by info method you will get to observe all the data type that can supports by every column. So in the serial number column, it is an integer 64 byte type of data, and day is like object date. So object means it is a kind of string format. You can define string as well as with combination of integers, alphabets, as well as some special characters. But it is not a kind of date and time format. Okay. So we're already seen how to generate a column like date time format. For that we have already a method like date underscore time, date underscore time underscore range. Okay, so with that you can typecast it, but now that is not mandatory, but you should understand. So everything should be in the data frame. Most of the things should be in the format of object, that means string format. In that case, sometimes when you got the columns like with the date format, in that case you need to typecast that object data into a datetime format. So we should know in the further we will let you know how to convert this and how to typecast this object data into datetime format when it is a datetime format. Okay, in the next classes, upcoming classes, but it's not necessary now. Okay, can you able to hear me? Somebody respond me like mic is off now. I think everyone can hear my voice, right? Respond me. Yeah, okay. Okay, who is this? Prithvi, um, Sai Kumar. Prithvi and Sai Kumar. There is no problem from my side. So try to check your internet connection. The rest of them will don't have a problem with my audio. They can hear me. So try to check from your side. Okay, this is about the basic steps. In the first step, we can take the data and we can do some kind of pre-processing like how many rows and how many columns and statistical information of data, and we need to analyze the data, everything in which column what type of data that can stored and how many non-values are there. If you observe this data in the some point of time, you can observe some kind of NaN. That means in that particular column, in the one row of temperature column, that might have they doesn't have any kind of data in that particular cell. In that case, when you take this data, that whatever the empty values that going to be assigned like that going to be replaced with some kind of nan values. Nan means not a number, it is not a number. Okay, so in how it going to be generated means in the data set, in that particular cell, it is some kind of empty. In that case, when you want to load that data, it automatically loaded and that empty cells into a NaN values. Otherwise, we can place that NaN values also by using NumPy. np.nan will gives you a NaN values, not a number values. Okay. We are going to see how to handle these NaN values. That means there is a missing values and there is a not kind of proper format. If you observe this temperature column here, in this temperature column should be like a integer data. It can take only integer data, but at some point of time you will get some kind of NaN values. So we need to know how to handle these NaN values, and we will discuss about it. And before that, if I want to access this temperature column from my data set, how can I access it? Let me know the responses. If I want to access this temperature column only from my data set, NaN means not an integer. It is not related to none. There might have some value, but it is not a number. Yeah, if you want to access this temperature, how can you access it? Yeah, we can mention that column name, right? So we can mention that column name like df of, I'm just mentioning TE, and then give tab from me keyboard. It will automatically getting the temperature column with respect to this df. I'm just typing TE from my keyboard, and then if I give tab, the entire temperature column should be highlighted. Now you can observe entire temperature can be accessible here when you access it. And you can access this by using LOC, ILOC also. But instead of that, when you have a label name, you can directly access it. The columns can be directly accessed like with the label names. Okay, like this you can access it. And yeah, if I want to find out the every value inside this temperature column, if I want to find out the count of every value inside this particular column, we can count it. So now if you see here, we have a 30 as a one value. Inside the temperature, I have 30 as a single count, and 43 as a also single count, 55 also single count value, and 66 also. That means if you want to count the values inside this temperature column, you can count it. When it is whenever you have a less number of values inside that single column, you can count it. But what if the data should be some thousands of data? In that case, we don't need to calculate it by manually, right? We cannot find out the count of that by manually. In that case, we can use one method to find out the count of that particular values inside a column or anything. Now let's see how to find out the count of a particular values. So for that, initially we need to get that column. Initially we need to get that column and then make a dot. Make a dot, and we can call one method like values. Somebody said me like count. Now let's see is that working or not. So it will gives you, yeah, it will gives you the count of entire column. It will gives you the count of entire column. And also you can observe here the NaN values cannot be counted. It will count the value which having some value only. It will not consider the NaN values. And if you pass the count, it will gives you the entire column count. How many values that they have with respect to that count of that values it will generate. But the thing is, I want to calculate the count of every element. So that means here I can able to get the 30 as a one count, and the count of this 43 is 1, and 55 is 1. That means if I have 55 again inside this temperature column, the count of that 55 value is 2. That means if I want to calculate the count of the values inside a column, we can use some other method. Yeah, values underscore count. Value underscore counts. Value underscore counts. This is the method to find out the element counts. element count in a column. So this count will gives you the count of that entire column. But sometimes we need to figure out the element count also. In that case, we can use this value underscore counts. There you can observe it will give the count of that element. So in the first step, in the first index, it will gives you the value and it will gives you the count of that particular value. And it will gives you the count and as well as count of that particular value with respect to count you will get. This is the result, and at the bottom you can observe it will gives you on which name it going to be generate the result. The name here we are taking as a column is temperature, and also it will generate the type of that column supports. Like this you can able to find out the column element count. Okay, now let's see how to perform a filtering. We convert this cell into Markdown. So we have already a df. So if I want to get my df, if I give df dot head, it will give you. Now, if I want to filter the data, which is I want to filter the data of temperature which is greater than 55. That means I want to filter the data where the temperature should be greater than 55. So there you can use you should know how to access this temperature column, and with respect to accessing it you can filter it, right? So now you should tell me how to accessing this temperature column. We already done that, right? So df of temp. So by that it will generate the temperature column like this. And if I want to, so now after getting it you can observe all the values should be getting. So totally it will generate 12 rows values as well with respect to that. What happened? So with respect to the temperature column, we will able to get the values. Now, out of these given values, out of the getting values, we need to filter where the temperature should be greater than 55. So we need to apply some kind of conditions, right? Okay. How to filter that temperature value where the temperature should be greater than 55. Let me know your responses. We are accessing the elements, like we are able to access this temperature column, and after accessing it we need to filter where the temperature should be greater than 55. How can you do that? I need responses from you. We already done this filtering in NumPy. So this is similar to two-dimensional array. So you can use both. Temperature greater than 55. Yeah, data frame of temperature greater than 55. Then it will gives you a result like boolean, either true or false. So false means in the 0th index we will get result as false. When you compare, when you filter the data, temperature data greater than 55, you will get in the 0 index it will gives you like false. What it means? When you filter the data with 55, you might get some kind of trues and false. And what is false stands and what is true stands? What it signifies? Yeah, whenever you get false means it is not greater than 55. Whenever you get true means that value should be greater than 55. True means the value should be, the condition should be true. Here the condition is data temperature should be greater than 55. So whenever you get the true means the condition is true. That means the value should be greater than 55. That's why it will gives you the result as true. False means the data temperature data should not be greater than 55. That's why it will gives you the result as false. So like this you will filter it, but we need to reflect these changes in your data frame. We need to reflect these changes in your data frame. How can you reflect it? That means whenever you get the true as a result means in this case we have a data which is greater than 55. So instead of getting these false results, I want to get only true result along with the number in your data set. Then we can apply a functional mapping. So here it is nothing but filtering, or when you apply a condition, that is called as a filtering. We can access it and we can filtering our conditions means basically it will generate boolean data, boolean result. So after applying a filtering, you if you want to reflect the changes, like if you want to get the numbers, you can give a functional mapping technique, like you need to pass along with df of df of. That means when you pass one more df in before it, that means it will checks with entire condition in the first step, and wherever the condition is greater than 55, then it will reflect the changes along with the data frame. Now let's see. Now you can see we are filtering the data, and after filtering we are going to displaying that filter data along with our data frame, so that you will get the result. You will get the result wherever the temperature should be greater than 55. Now you can observe in the temperature column we will able to get the data which is more than 55 only. Those are 66, 89, 90, 65 only we will getting, because we are filtering the data. Like this you can perform filtering. Am I clear, students, how the filtering can be occur? Now it's your turn to filter wind speed is greater than 13. Okay, you need to observe the data set. Why before filtering you need to observe the data set. In the data set you can observe wind speed maybe it lies between 12 to 15, I think so. Sorry, 10 to 15. So out of that wind speed I want to filter the data which is wind speed is greater than 13. So try to filter it and let me know your responses privately in the chat box. Post your responses in the chat box. Filter the wind speed. Filter wind speed data is greater than 13. Okay, I got 2 responses, 3, 4. Okay, good. Yeah, you can filter the data like, and you can filtering like step by step, like whatever I done in the previous. First of all, you can take the data, that is the first step, and then you can apply a filtering technique, and then you can reflect that changes entire thing in your data set. So here you can mention wind speed. So wind speed, the condition is greater than 13. Now you can able to get the wind speed values which is greater than 13 only. Which is greater than 13 only. In the wind speed you can able to observe the result or values which is greater than 13 only. Now let's filter the data. Filter the data. Filter the data which is filter the data like temperature should be greater than 40 and wind speed is greater than 20. 20, there is no 20, greater than 15. Okay, that means I want to get the data with a data set. I want to filter the data where the temperature should be greater than 40 and the wind speed should be greater than 50. Okay, greater than 50. So try to filter the data and try to pass your try to post your responses in the chat box. That means I want to filter both columns, like temperature and wind speed, and the condition for temperature should be greater than 40 and the condition for wind speed is greater than 50. And finally I want to get this results where the temperature greater than 40 and where the wind speed is 50, greater than 50. That means here we need to compare two conditions. If the conditions, both conditions should be true only, we need to filter it, right? So try to do that. Yeah, okay, good. I got 2 responses. First of all, you can do DF of, we need to check with temperature, which is greater than 40. Then we will get one result like this. And also we need to compare with wind speed. So you need to specify that wind speed condition also in the same line. And we need to compare like with the AND gate, so that only we will get both you can observe the result by using AND gate. AND gate will give you the result whenever the both conditions is true only. So I can use logical AND here and DF of, then you can specify wind speed which is greater than 15. Now you can see. So when you pass it like this, you need to separate them with parentheses, otherwise it will raise a type error. These two are conditions and we are going to compare that condition with AND gate. So try to pass a parenthesis. So like this you will get, and whenever you get true means, so there you can observe. So you will get all false. That means at any cost of time, that two conditions should not be same. That two conditions should not be matched. So, okay, in that case, let's decrease the temperature lesser than or equal to 30. Let's take. Okay, here I'm just changing the result because when you use 40 temperature greater than 40 and wind speed greater than 15 means there is no particular values with respect to if you want to satisfy but the two conditions, there is no values to satisfy that. So for that I'm just changing the values here. The temperature the condition here to check the temperature is lesser than 30. Now let's see. If you change that also, we are not getting it. That means, you know, if I pass is equal to 50. Then we can mention greater than here. Now if you pass greater than 30 and is equal to temperature greater than 30 and is equal to 30 and wind speed is equal to 15 means there you will get one condition only true, the rest of them is false. So when you instead of this let's make, okay, so now you will get one true condition. If you want to reflect these changes in your data frame, you can mention d of then you will get the result like this. So in the fifth row, you will observe the temperature more than 30 and wind speed is equal to 50. Then you can filter the data like this. And so if I use again like OR gate, so then I can perform logical OR operator here. Then if any one condition is true, we will get the true. So now let's see. So when you pass like that, you will get up to 11 rows as a result. That means basically here the temperature should be more than 30 only. So at any time one condition should be true. When you apply a logical OR gate, any one condition is true, so that we will get out of 12 rows, we will get 11 rows as a result. If I mention greater than 40 here, you might get up to 8 to 10 rows. So like this, you can filter the data based on your application. Sometimes we need to filter the data. So like that, for that purpose, we can use techniques to filter it like this. Okay, am I clear, students? How the filtering can be happen here? Okay. Next, we will see sorting in data frames. That's it about the filtering. Based on our application, we can filter the data. So next one is sorting data frames. So for sorting, sorting we might know already. Sorting can be happen like ascending, order, and descending order. So for performing sorting, we have one method like sort underscore index to sort the index, and sort underscore values to sort the values. Let's see how it is happen. To sort the index of data set. To sort values inside data set. So we have already a df inside the df variable. So now let's see, if you observe here the df, if you observe here the data set, so it having some temperature values and wind speed and a day. So this day is a string, so we cannot filter because it is a kind of integers. When you want to perform a sorting, you make sure you or basically we can perform it with respect to integers. So try to take integer columns. So here we have integer columns is temperature and wind speed. If so if you observe the results or values inside this, that should not follow some kind of order. It may be some kind of random values. So if you want to apply sorting with respect to these columns, let's apply and let's observe the result. And before that, here if you see in the temperature, the starting value is 30, and in the middle 34, and then also we have 43. So now let's see, if I want to sort these values like order, with respect to order, we can apply a technique like sort underscore values. We have already seen that the method. So now let's see how to apply it. Instead of that, I'm just using head so that window size can be reduced. Now if I apply df dot sort underscore, there you can observe by using sort we have two methods, that is index and values. So if I want to sort the values, you can use sort underscore values is a method. Values is a method, and there you can mention the parameters like so on which basis you want to sort it, like axis basis as well as column basis. So here I applying one method. So based on that, here I am applying temperature. So based on the temperature, I want to sort my values so that I can able to pass that column name here. Now you can see the entire temperature column should be sorted, and this sorting should be like ascending. So defaultly here, if you see the method description, So defaultly that it can be sort the values on the basis of ascending equals to true. That means if you don't mention this ascending, it will automatically generate the values, sort the values based on ascending format. Okay, based on ascending format. If you want to generate the values in the descending format, you just rename it like ascending equals to false. Then it will generate the values like it will sort the values like descending. Okay. Now you can observe after sorting it, you can observe the result. So the starting value should be low. It will generate like ascending order. If you want to get the if you want to sort the values like descending, you can pass one more parameter, that is ascending equals to false, so that the result should be generated like in the format of descending. So we are sorting the values like descending order with respect to temperature column, so we can able to observe the result with respect to temperature column only, and the nan value should be generated at the bottom of it like this. Okay. Yeah, when you sort the values like descending or ascending, you might get observed one thing, that is the order of index can be changed. So it's going to be changed when you sort the values. So in that case, if you want to arrange that index, you can use sort index as a method. So or else you can pass one more parameter like index. So you just give shift to tab here. So there you can observe here the ignore index is a default parameter and it is a false, so that it will automatically generates a random index based on sorting values. It will generate the index. If you don't want to generate the index like that, in that case you just pass ignore index is a one more parameter. So now you can see if I pass ignore index is equals to true, defaultly that is in the false state. So if you want to generate the index in the proper way, you can use you can pass true as a value, then you can observe the result. So here the temperature should be generated like a ascending order, and also you can observe the order of index also should be followed like 0 1 2 3, because we are passing ignore index as it, defaultly that ignore index should be false. And here also if you want to generate the values in the descending sorting order, you can use ascending equals to false, so that it can generate the descending order. And if you want to arrange your index, you can also pass ignore index is equals to true, then only the index should be followed the order like this. Like this you can sort the values. Okay, this is the method to sort your values with respect to any column. Now if you want to sort the values based on wind speed, you can sort it like df dot sort underscore values like wind speed. I think it is a key error. Wind speed only, it's not wind speed. Now you can see the wind speed can be generated. It can be sort the values like ascending. Now there you can see here the order of index should be changed. And while sorting this, I'm going to store it with one variable, that is S1. While sorting this wind speed values, I'm just storing the result in one variable, that is S1. And this S1 having some kind of unordered index. You can change that index by using ignore index attribute. Defaultly you can pass it. Otherwise you can use sort underscore index method. So basically that S1 having some kind of random index. And if you want to sort this index based on that, you can use S1 dot sort underscore index to sort the index. Out of getting the index, you can sort your index. See, you can sort your index like this also. Now you can observe the order of index should be followed the order. It can follow the order. After passing the sort index, the index should be sorted like ascending order. This index also follow the ascending order as a true. Basically, it is also having the parameter ascending is a true defaultly. There you can observe ascending defaultly having some kind of true, so that it will generate the sorting based on ascending order. If you want to generate the ascending, if you want to generate the sorting like descending, you can pass ascending parameter. Ascending parameter is a false, then it will generate like sorting in the format of descending. Now you can observe the order of index should be generated like in descending format, high to low. Like this, you can apply sorting index to sort your index and sort underscore values to sort any kind of column values. Okay. Am I clear, students, how the sorting can be performed here? Two columns at a time. Okay, if you want to perform sorting two columns at a time, let's see. Okay, we have df. So df dot sort underscore values. So when you want to pass two columns at a time, you can specify like square bracket. Let's see. Temperature, wind speed. Yeah, I think there is no sorting can be performed. Yeah, it's performing the sorting. So on the basis of first column, it's going to be sorting. See, if you observe, it's sorted. When you want to perform two columns at a time, it can be performed like in the temperature, it can be started from 30, 34, that it can follow the ascending order. And with respect to this temperature column, it can also perform wind speed ascending. And out of this, it will generate nan value with respect to temperature column. And if you perform sorting with respect to one column, the nan value should be generated in low. That means you will get the nan value at the bottom of the data set. But when you perform the sorting with respect to two, it will generate nan values with respect to first column, because it can follow some kind of row structure. It will follow sorting a row kind of structure. So you can perform two columns at a time also sorting. Yeah, that's it about the sorting. And what is the next topic? Cleaning of the data frame. And it is very important. So this cleaning can be involved step of 2 in the data science life cycle, dealing with the null values. So cleaning is very important. So whenever you get the data from outside environment, it is a kind of raw format. That may be some kind of unwanted data, that is a combination of some unwanted data. So you need to know how to handle that unwanted data. So you need to know how to handle and how to remove it. And if you want to use it, if you want to use that unwanted data also, how to replace that data with your wanted data. you should know how to replace that data, and you should know how to fill that data, so that we can do some kind of techniques to cleaning or filling or replacing. So cleaning data is important. For that, the first step is we need to check unwanted data. Okay, and cleaning takes 2 steps. First step is check the unwanted data, what was the unwanted data, and based on that unwanted data, if you want to delete it, you can delete it. Otherwise, if you want to use it, you can use it by filling it with some other data that you want. Okay, so now let's see. To check the unwanted data, or to check missing data, we have one method to find out that is null. Is null is a method to check unwanted data or null data, and also we have one more method that is not null. Okay, so this is the way we are going to check the unwanted data. And if you find that unwanted data, if you want to use it and if you want to delete it, we have some other methods for handling that unwanted data. We have one more method that is drop NA. To remove unwanted data, we have drop NA method. If you want to handle that, in that case you should know how to replace it. For that, we have a method like fill NA and then replace. If you want to replace it, like fill. If you want to fill it, you can use fill NA. If you want to replace it, you can use replace. Is the method. So these are the methods we can use to handle this unwanted data. Let's convert this into Markdown. Okay. So why we need to do cleaning? So cleaning must and should takes place, right? When you have a huge data, out of the huge data, you might get some unwanted data. So that means it is not kind of a proper format, and it is not followed the order, and it is not a correct format to define it. So in that case, you should know how to remove it, and if you want to use it, you should know how to fill it. That unwanted data should be converted like a wanted data by filling it. So for that, we should know all these methods like is NA, is null or not null, to check that unwanted data or missing data. And if you want to remove that unwanted data, you can use drop NA is also one method to drop that not in a number data. So not in a number data can also called as in a missing or unwanted data. Okay. And if you want to fill that unwanted data, you can use fill NA method. And if you want to replace any kind of data, you can use replace as also one of the method. Now let's see, we are going to perform this cleaning or analyzation with the help of df weather.csv only. So we have already loaded that data set in the df variable. So now I have a data frame like that, and out of this given data frame, you can able to find out some kind of unwanted data. That unwanted data should be displayed like NaN format. NaN means it is a not and a number. So if you want to remove this data, you should know how to use it. And if you want to use this data, if you want, you should know how to fill it. So let's see one by one how to handle it. And before that, you should know what are the unwanted data that we have inside the data set, and what is the count for that unwanted data. So that only we are going to fill that, right? So the first step, we are already loaded the data. So we are already loaded the data. That is the first step. And second step, you should know the description and statistical information and the shape. We are already done that in the first step as well. And the third step is you need to do pre-processing. So this cleaning all the things can be takes place the second step of data science life cycle. This can be called as a pre-processing. We need to pre-process the data so that it's going to be converted like unwanted data to wanted data. So this pre-processing can be happen like checking with the null values and filling with the null values. So now let's see. Checking null values and fill null values, or else you can remove null values if you don't want. That is the purpose of pre-processing. The pre-processing is the second step. It takes place in the second step in the data science life cycle. So you should know, and it is very important. So try to convert this cell into Markdown. The first step is you need to know, you need to check the null values in your data set. So for that we have already one method, that is null, or to checking the unwanted data we have a method like is null or not null. Let's see how to find out that. So we have already taken the data at the variable of df. Let's find out that null values. Df dot is null. So when you pass df dot is null, it will gives you some kind of a boolean result like either true or false. True means whenever they find a null values in that place, it will gives you the result as true. False means whenever they find a integer other than null, whenever they get the other than null values, it will gives the result as false. So that means whenever they find a null value in that place, it will raises the result as true. So like that it will give. Instead of this, if I want to get the count of these null values, so if I want to get the count of these null values, in that case you can use count. So this will gives you the count of the null values with respect to every column. Count of null values in each column. Okay, so it will gives you the count of null values. So it is not giving that, right? So it will gives you the count of that every column. But here, if you want to get the null values count, you can use sum instead of count. You can use sum. Now you can able to get the count of that null values. If you see in the serial number, you will not get any null values. That's why the result is 0. And the day also it is not having null values, so you will get 0. In the temperature you might get some kind of null values. The number should be 4. And in the event also you might get some kind of 3 null values, so you will get 3. Like this you will generate the count of the null values with respect to every column when you pass is null dot sum. Okay, when you pass sum only you will get this result. Otherwise you will get some kind of true or false result in the given data set. Okay, is this step clear to all? Find out the sum of the null values, because it is very important. We are doing this step every time in the next future days. So is null means after taking the data set, we should know what is the unwanted data, or what is the missing data, or what is the null values data. So if you want to know that, we can use is null is the method. It will gives you the null values wherever they get a null values. It will gives you true. It will gives you false whenever it is not a null value. So if you want to find out the count of that null values with respect to columns, you can use is null dot sum, so that you will get the count of that null values with respect to every column. So in the you can observe in the temperature, you can observe there is a totally 4 NaN values. So like that it will generate with the help of the seasonal dot sum. So in the serial number and day column, you don't get any NaN values. So that in that two columns, you will get 0 as a result. Like this, you can calculate the null values count. You can find out is there any kind of missing values. All the missing values can automatically replaced with NaN values. You don't need to bother about that. How they're going to be generated means whenever they have a empty values inside the given data set, that automatically converted into a NaN values. Okay. So now we can able to get the null values count. So in the temperature you can able to find out 4, and the wind speed you can find 3, and event also you can 3. So now we should know how to handle this of null values. If you want to remove that, you can remove it. Like if you see, I'm just while removing, I'm going to assign one new variable. So if you want to remove that null values, you can use drop NA is a method. So for that you can use df dot drop NA. So drop NA. So it's going to be drop that none values. NA means not a null values, none values. So if you want to remove that none values from your data set, you can use drop NA is the method. So it's going to be remove that none values from your data set. Okay. While drop it, I'm going to assign that into a new variable, that is, let's take D1. Okay. So I'm just taking a new variable while dropping the none values. And after that, now you can see all the none values should be dropped from the given data set. So we have a data set with a variable of df, and we are dropping the none values from the given data set with the help of drop NA method. And after dropping it, I'm just loading that data set with one variable, that is d1. Now you can find out the count of that data set again. The null values count. If I use df d1 dot is null dot sum, you will get zeros, because we are removing that null values from the given data set. Now you can get all in the all columns, you will get 0 as a result. Why we are getting 0 as a result means we are dropping that null values from the given data set and storing that with one new variable, that is d1. After removing that, if I find out the null values count, it will gives you the result as 0, because we are removing it. Okay. So drop NA is for remove the null values. Is it is clear, students? Removing the null values. So if you see while dropping, you will get without none values result. That means whatever the none value is having, that entire row should be removed. So before that, if you want to know, if you see df, so in the second column, in the first row, you can observe in the temperature column, you can observe a none value, and in the wind speed you will not get to observe this. There might have some value, that is 14.0, and the event also you can observe some kind of none value. Now if I print d1, let's observe the first row again. Now you cannot get that first row, and you will get only rows 0 2 5 9. So the rest of rows, entire rows should be removed. When you use drop NA, it will remove the drop NA entire row. Okay. So after dropping, so you will not get any kind of null values, because we are removing with drop NA. Now let's confirm it. Is there any kind of null values? For that, I'm just using d1 dot is null dot sum. Is null dot sum. Now you can see there is no null values in the column. That's why it will gives you result as 0. What it means, we are removing these null values from the given df and then stored the result with respect to d1. And if I find out the sum of this d1 with the null values count, I'm getting 0 as a result, because I am removing that null values, so that I cannot get result as 1 or 2 something, and we will get only 0 as a result. Okay. And you can find out this null values count by using some other method, like not null also working same. Not null dot sum. So not null is different. So if it is having some value means it will gives you a result. Not null is opposite to is null. Okay, sorry. Okay, when you want to find out the null values count, you can use isNull. Basically, we are going to working with we need to focus on pre-processing. In that case, we need to know how to search with null values. For that, you should know isNull is a method. Okay, and we are not changing this entire result. We are not changing the result. That is, we are not removing the null values from data frame. You can observe here. After removing the null values from data frame, we are storing the result in D1. We are not reflecting the changes in the main data set. So for that, you can use one method like in place equals to true. If I change it, if I change that in place equals to true, the entire data set in the entire data set also you will not get any kind of null values by applying a drop NA. But I want to show you that fill NA and all the methods. For that, we should the data should contain some kind of null values. For that, I'm just not changing and I'm not reflecting the changes in the main data set. For that, I'm just taking new variable that is D1 to observe the changes. Okay. Am I clear, students, up to this? What about rest of them? Okay. So up to now, we are seeing checking with the null values by using isNull method. If it is there, if you want to remove it, we can use drop NA method. By using drop NA, you can simply remove the null values entire row. Okay. Now we don't want to remove that null values, but we can use it because when you use drop NA method, whenever they find a null values in a single column, it's going to remove that entire row as well, right? So it's going to be remove entire row null values. So in that means we are losing some data. Like if you observe in the first row, we are having null value in the temperature column only, and we are having null value in the temperature column and event column, and we are having some value with respect to wind speed column in the first row. That means when you use drop NA, this entire first row can be removed. That means when you remove these null values, whenever they remove a first row, entire row, we are losing some data. If it is having a value, that data should be losing. In that case, instead of removing these null values, we can use this entire column, and by using filling this null value with some other value. We can fill this null value by using some other value so that we can use this entire row as well instead of removing that entire row. So let's see how to use that. So for that, we have already tell you the method is to handle or to fill any kind of null values. We can use fill NA is the method. Okay, let's see how it is. So we have a data set like DF. So inside the DF, you can observe a none values, some kind of none values. So instead of removing this none value, I just want to use it because when I remove the single none value with respect to that, entire row should be removed. So in that case, I can able to lose some data. So to overcome that, we can fill none value with some other value and we can use it whenever we want. So for that case, we should know how to fill the null value with some other value. For that, we have a method that is fill NA. Let's see how it is. So fill NA is to fill a null values. Okay, to fill a null values. Now, if you place shift to tab, then you can see. So fill NA will fill the values what it returns. So fill the none values using the specified method. So it supports some kind of specific methods to fill that values like backfill, bfill, pad, fill, none, all those things. So based on method, it's going to be fill the none values. Otherwise, whatever the value we have passed with respect to that value, it's going to be fill the values. Okay. So the first attribute is value, and then it can supports method as well. And this kind of uh, non-values filling also follows some kind of axis, either row wise or column wise. Basically we are performing null values with respect to columns, so that the respected rows also going to be changed, right? So now let's see have a data frame like this with having some none values. I just want to replace these none values. I just want to fill this null value with having 0. By passing 0, I can able to fill it. Now let's see. Now you can observe all the none values should be replaced with 0 value. All the none values should be replaced with none value. Can you able to observe the result? So in the previous, we will get some kind of NaN value in the first row, in the column of temperature, in the column of event. You can observe some kind of NaN values over here. But when you use fill NA to fill this none value with value of 0, this value of 0 should be filled here in the place of NaN. Like this, you can fill the values, fill the NaN values. Okay. Can you get it, students? How to fill the NaN values? Yeah, if you see here, sometimes instead of filling the none values with every none value with one value, you can specify the column. Along with the column, you can specify the value. Okay, that means when you pass fill any of 0 means this 0 should be replaced with wherever the NaN value. Okay, it going to be filled. But sometimes we need to specify with respect to NaN value. So that means I want to replace the NaN value of temperature with some other value, and I want to specify the NaN value of wind speed with some other value. In that case, you can specify column wise NaN values replacing. Okay, let's see how that happen. So df dot fill NA, there you can specify fill NA, there you can specify whenever you have a column wise values, there you can use a dictionary kind of format to change it. So here you can specify the column name. The column name we have temperature. Okay, temperature, and whatever the null values inside the temperature, I want to change that with the value of 1, with the value of 1. So I can able to pass value as 1, and then the next key we have, next column we have is wind speed. And I want to change the NaN values of wind speed with value of 2, with value of 2. Now let's see, if I give df, it is not changed. If I change also, it's not going to be changed. Let's see the spellings once. Yeah, when I change it also, it's not changed. Okay, if you want to change these results into data frame, we need to pass in place equals to 2, so that it will change along with the data frame. In place equals to true. Yeah, when you pass the in place equals to true, it going to be apply this temperature NaN value as 1, as wind speed value as 2, in the main data frame. That means the changes should be reflected in the main data frame as well, so that you need to mention in place equals to true. Okay, whatever the NaN values inside the temperature, that NaN value should be replaced with 1 value, and whatever the values of wind speed, NaN values of wind speed can be replaced, filled with value of 2. Okay, and I want to pass, I want to change this nan values of event also, so that I can able to pass event as well. Event, when I pass like this, I will get error. I think this temperature and wind speed is already filled with nan one value and two value. When I pass event also in this same cell, they didn't have any nan values. Now let's see. See if it is rising or error. Let's see. Let's observe event column. So whenever the nan value inside the event, I want to change that with Sunny as a name, with Sunny value. So Sunny is a string, so that I need to pass it in a quotes. Yeah, it is not rising an error. Now you can see all the nan values in the temperature should be replaced or should be filled with value of 1, and all the values of wind speed should be filled with value of 2, and all the values of nan in nan values event should be changed with Sunny. Like this, instead of removing all the entire row of nan value, you can use fill NA. With that, you can fill the nan values and then you can use it. Okay. After that, you can able to find out the null values count again. Now let's see is null dot sum. Now you can see there is no null values in any column. That's why you will get 0, because in the previous cell we are changing the nan value of every column with one value. So and these values, these changes should be reflected in main data frame, because we are passing in place equals to true. Okay. After that, you can, if you observe the null values count, it will gives you all the columns as a non value count as a 0, because it doesn't have any non value after changing it. And also you can change the non values with having mean of the particular data. So the when you want to change the non values, you can change it with the non value with the mean of that particular column also, but this data frame is already changed and it doesn't have any non values, right? When you give df, so you can see there is no non values here. So let's read the data set again. So for that, we are taking one more variable df1 equals to pd dot read underscore csv. Just copy the file path. Because we are going to observe how to fill a null values with the mean of the columns. We need to observe that. That is also very important. So for that, we should take a data set with having some non values. For that purpose, I am loading this data set again with some other variable df1. Okay, this df1 is having some non values. Now I want to replace these non values of temperature with the temperature mean, with the mean of temperature. So now let's see. So first of all, we need to access the temperature. Need to access the temperature, and if you want to find out the mean of it, you can pass dot mean. It gives the mean of the temperature column, and we want to fill this. We want to fill the nan values of temperature with the value of mean it. Okay, I want to fill the nan value of temperature with the mean of this temperature column. In that case, you can apply df of temperature is equal to df of temperature dot mean. Now if you see df, so it's going to be this main should be applied entire, because I'm applying df here. Okay, df of temperature is df of temperature dot. We need to fill the null values, right? Fill na. Fill na of so it is already changed with that. So I'm going to run this cell again, previous cell having null values. df of temperature dot fill na. Yeah, we need to apply the column name here, df of temperature equal to. So entire value should be changed with the mean, but we want to fill that. We want to change the only nan value. What is the mistake here? I'm going to run this cell again, reading the data. We're getting some nan values. We are calculating the mean value of the temperature. And after that, we are reflecting that changes with respect to that column. df of temperature equals to df of temperature dot fill na of this mean of the temperature. Yeah, sorry. So it's a df1, right? So the variable, the data set we are loading with the variable name of df1. Yeah, you will get the mean of the temperature is 59, and after that we want to fill the nan value of temperature with the mean of temperature. So for that you can use df1 of temperature is equals to temperature dot fill na. This means we are getting the temperature entire value, and after that out of the temperature values wherever the non values we need to fill that. For that we can use fill na, and then what you need to fill that Na values. So we want to fill that Na values with the mean of temperature. So I'm going to run this cell, and after that if you give df1, so now you can see whatever the nan values inside the temperature column, that nan value should be replaced or should be filled with the mean of the temperature. The mean of the temperature is 59.0. So wherever the nan values inside the temperature, that value should be filled with value of mean of temperature, like 59.0. Okay. So can you understand this step, 80th cell? So we are reflecting that changes into the main column of data frame, so that I can access it like df1 of temperature is equals to, we need to access that column and fill the null values with the mean of it. Fill the null values with the mean of it. That is the meaning of it here. At the initial time, it will calculate the mean of the temperature and will fill the null values with the mean of it, and where it will fill the null values or in the place of temperature. And finally, entire data result should be assigned, replaced, or reflected with the main column. Now you can get the nan values should be filled with the mean of that particular column. As well as you can also fill any kind of column with median also. Now let's see if I want to fill the, let's calculate the, let's fill the nan values of wind speed with the median of wind speed. Wind speed equals to, you need to access it like wind speed, and then you need to fill the nan values of wind speed with the median of wind speed. For that you can call the method like dot mean. median. After that, you can observe D of 1. So it is a spelling mistake, I think so. That's why it will generate like a new column. Wins. Yeah, it is spelling mistake. So it is already there. That's why try this in it. Wind speed, billion, attribute error. There is no column with that. I'm going to run the reading the file again, and you can run this directly. Attribute error. So median spelling is wrong. Yeah. Now you can observe whatever the NaN values inside the wind speed, that is changed with the median value of wind speed. So median value of wind speed. So it will automatically calculate the median of wind speed, and wherever the NaN value is getting inside the wind speed, that median should be filled with NaN values of wind speed. So if you want to calculate the wind speed manually, you can calculate it. So the median of wind speed is 13.0. And this 13.0 should be replaced or filled wherever the NaN value of wind speed. Okay, and you can apply some kind of limit for the filling of null values also. So let's see, we have D of 1 dot fill NA of, so I want to fill the NaN values with the value of 11. So I want to fill the NaN values inside the D of 1, so with the value of 11, and I can able to pass the limit of the NaN values also. I can able to pass the limit of the NaN values also. That means I want to fill the NaN values with limit of 2 only. So you can pass one more attribute, that is limit. If I pass 2 means it's going to be fill the NaN values with the value of 11 with limit of 2 only. Now let's see. So first 2 only it's going to be replaced. So in the temperature, you have totally 4 NaN values, right? We're already seeing the count. So when you mention the NaN values limit, with respect to that limit, it will fill the NaN values. And here I am filling the NaN value with value of 11. So you can get wherever the NaN value that going to be filled with 11, and we are applying some limits. So instead of filling the all NaN values, it will fill only first with the limit of 2. So it will fill only 2 NaN values in each column. It will fill only 2 NaN values because we are passing limit as 2 with respect to each column. Okay, and here in the event also you can observe it will fill the NaN value with two positions only. Like this, you can pass the limit for that also, and also we can fill the NaN values with by passing value like fill any of value, and then you can use method also. We have inbuilt methods. We're already seeing that, right? So let's see. You can fill the NaN values by inbuilt methods. That is, you can pass one more parameter, that is method. And if you don't know about that, just give shift to tab after typing the method. Then you can observe the method. So the methods to fill the NaN values is we have backfill, bfill, pad, ffill, or none. Defaultly none. There is nothing. When you don't mention method, defaultly there is a none. Okay. So let's see. Let's apply any one thing. So if I want to apply ffill method, so ffill means it's going to be fill the NaN values based on forward. So whatever the forward values, based on that forward value, that NaN value should be replaced. Now let's see. Okay, here in the first row we have a NaN value here. So this NaN value should be replaced with the previous value. So because we are applying a method to filling it, that is ffill. Ffill means forward filling. So whatever the forward value that have with respect to that one, it going to be filled. So forwardly, it having 30.0 as a result. So the nan value should be replaced with that forward value, filled with that forward value. So here also, so in the last position also we have some nan value, and if you see here, this nan value should be filled with forward value of previous. In the 10th row we have forward value is 65. So with respect to this forward value, this nan value should be filled. So like this you can use the method. Yeah, fills. When you want to apply forward fill, backward fill, if you want to apply backward fill, you can use b fill is a method. Okay, like this you can fill any kind of non values. Up to now we are seeing filling the non values by using value, by using dictionary, that means with respect to column wise, and as well as if you want to fill the non values with value along with limit also, we are seeing how many numbers, how many non values do you want to fill it. And also we are seeing null value filling with uses of fit method like f fill, b fill, pad, and defaultly there is a null. Now let's see, instead of filling it, can we make existing data as a name? Yeah, you can make it. So like you can use import numpy for that. Import numpy as np. If you see, we have df1 of temperature. Temperature of 0. So this will gives you the in the 0th position of temperature. So it having some 30.0 as a result, right? So if you want to change this 30.0 as a NaN value, you can change it. How it is means you can just copy the position and then you can assign the NaN value like np dot nan. And after that, you can print this. See, after replacing this value with none, you will get nan as a result, because we are replacing any one value with nan value. That value is 0. So it is default value that we have. And after that, we are replacing this 0 position of temperature with nan value. So after replacing it, if you find out the index, if you access it, it will gives you the result as nan. So it is already overrated. That's why I might get nan as a result, because in the previous I'm already run this cell. So to overcome that, we need to read the cell again, read the file again. So because it's going to be overrated at any time, it's the main data should be changed. So now you can observe. So previously we have in the temperature 0 index, we have 30.0 as a result. And when if I want to change this 0 position of temperature with nan value, I can use np.nan. So it will generate some nan value in that place. And after changing it, if you access that 0 position, then you can observe it is having some nan value. And if you see that main df1, in the df1 also it's going to be changed. So in the default, in the 0th index, we have some 30.0 as a result, but we are changing that with some nan value, so it's automatically changed the value. Okay, like this you can change any particular value with nan value also. Now let's see, instead of dropping, instead of removing, instead of filling, if you want to replace the data, it is up to any data. It's not about nan value. If you want to replace any kind of data, you can use the method like replace. To replace, so here I'm just changing the 0 position of value only. So I can change, if I change 0 position only with nan, I can able to get nan inside the 0 position only. So this in the first position nan is all a default nan value, which is came from data set. I'm not generating. We are not. We are just changing the 0 position of temperature only with nan. The rest of nans are automatically there inside our data set. We are not changing in all values. We are just changing the 0 position of temperature, 0th index of temperature. Okay. To replace any particular value, you can use one method, that is replace. So to replace any value, we can use method like replace. Replace is the method we have. So now let's see how to apply that, how to apply the replace. So I have a data frame like D of 1 like this. Inside this, if I want to change any particular data with some other data, you can use replace method. So let's see. So df1 dot replace of, there you can mention, you need to mention which value to which value you want to replace. So I want to change rain rain value into sunny. So I can mention like rain comma sunny. So this rain should be there inside our df1, right? So like in the event column we have already there. So if I want to change this rain into sunny, you can use replace method. So now after changing it, if you observe it, now the rain should be the data rain should be replaced with sunny. The data rain should be replaced with sunny. And if I change, so if I want to change this 14.0, so wherever the rain should be there, entire rain should be replaced with the value of sunny. Like this, if you want to change any value inside the wind speed, you can change it. Let's apply one more example. So when you want to apply replace for temperature and wind, it is a integers. So you can pass only integers. If I want to change replace 20 into I need to replace the value with 25. If I then I can pass 20 comma 25. Then you can observe this 20 value, wherever the 20 is getting inside this data set, that entire 20 data should be replaced with the value of 25. With the value of 25. Now you can observe this here. Previously we have 20 as a result here, but when you replace that with 25, you can observe 25 only. Okay. So like this, you can use replace method also. Okay, am I clear, students, up to this? If you want to get a columns from the any dataset, you can use columns method, right? We're already discussing it. So it will gives you the entire columns from the given dataset. So this by using pandas also, we are going to plot some kind of plots. Now let's see how to plot. So for plotting, we can mention the data frame dot plot. Can we replace d of 1 dot replace? Yeah, you can change with nan values also. Replace can make existing data as nan. So after replacing the data, you can observe entire the data frame should also it's not changing in the entire data frame. So replace cannot reflect the changes in our main data frame. If you want to reflect the changes, you can use in place parameter as true. So let's see, is replace parameter is there? Yeah, you can use in place here. In place equals to false defaultly. So if you want to reflect this replace changes into your data frame, you can use in place equals to true, so that the main data frame also changed. I don't want to change that, so that I am not applying that in place. Yeah, I got queries from you. Can I change the heading column? If you want to change any particular column, that's what the question. see. Okay, let's see. If you want to change it with new name, it's not going to be removed. The new name can be added. The new column can be added. So if you want to remove it, you can use like a drop, right? By using drop, you can remove it. So yeah, I will explain. So I have a df1 like this. So if I want to add a new column, I can add it like df1 of. There you can mention whatever the column that you want. So df1 dot new column. Let's make it as n1. And this n1 should also follow the length of the data set. Here we have totally 12 rows. We need to specify 12 values, right? So that the column also should be added. So for generating the 12, how can you generate? What are the possibilities that we have? np dot random dot rand int of 1 to 12. I need to generate 12 random values. Now let's see df1. Now you can see the new column n1 is added at the ending. With bypassing some kind of random values, and at any cost of time, if you want to remove the new column, you can remove it. How can you remove it? By drop method you can remove it. So now let's see how to remove the column. Remove the column. So for that you can use drop method. We have a df1 dot drop of. There you mention what is the column name that you want to drop. So I want to drop this n1, so I can use n1. And when you use df1 dot drop along with the column name, you will get one error, that is key error. So defaultly it will consider all the keys should be point out that axis. You will get column error like not found in axis. So all the data should be observed. Machine can be should understand that all the keys should be having in the format of rows. So it will checks with rows only, but we are passing column to remove. So we need to specify the axis. So in that case, you can specify axis equals to 1. So this will point out. So this n1 column should be there in the columns. So axis 1 means it is representing the columns. Now you can see this n1 column should be removed. So this n1 column should be removed, and you want. Okay, after dropping it, now if you see, if I'm going to print this df1 again. Now you can see this n1 column should not be removed, but in the previous step we are done removing that n1 column, right? So but we are not, this n1 should not be removed when I run this again df1, because the changes should not be reflected in main data frame. If you want to remove that n1 column from your main data frame, you can use in place equals to true. In place equals to true, so that the changes should be reflected in your main column. Now after removing it, if you give df1, that new column should be removed. So if you won't pass this in place, that changes should not be reflected in your main data frame. Keep in your mind. Okay, like this you can, if you want to add a new column, you can add it like a df1 of that particular column name. And if you want to remove it, you can use drop, df1 dot drop. But can I change the heading of column? For example, I want to make. I'm not sure to changing the column names. Let's try it. I have column names like df1 dot columns. If I pass columns, it will gives you the columns of data frame. If I want to change event, let's take df1 dot df1 of event equal to, if I change new name like e1, if I pass e1, if I print df1 again, let's see. See, it's, the column name should not be changed once you define it. So whatever you pass, that going to be taken as a value. Yeah. Okay. So that's it about. Yeah, I forgot to tell you. The pandas can also helpful to plotting something, right? We have a df1 like this. And in this df1 I'm already changing this event. Don't bother about that. Now let's see the focus. The main thing is you need to plot something. So by using data frames you can plot directly, like by with the method of plot, data frame dot plot. So it will plot something. So based on our data it will plot something. Let's observe the plot once. So it might not followed any order. So when you plot something, it will automatically generate x and y values with respect to our data. So whatever the data that we have with respect to our data, it will automatically generate the range. So if you see the highest range that we have in the temperature column, that is about 90. So the highest range that we have is 90. So on the lowest range can be starts from 0. So this is the index. So it's not going to be followed. Yeah, basically. Okay. So based on our data set values, it's going to be generate the x and y values and it will plot it. And you can observe. So here it automatically generates some kind of legends. So which color stands what signifies the colors. So here if you see the sky blue color will signify the serial numbering. The serial number should be increased step by step, like 0 to 12, right? So it is serially increased. And if you see the temperature should not follow the order. So the temperature should starts with some kind in the some point the temperature should fall starts with 34. Here the 34 is there, and it increased with 65 value, and some point of time the temperature is some 42 or 43 here. So like that it will generate. And also wind speed also not follow the order. Maximum it can varies from 10 to 20, I think so. So based on serial number, so based on data, so that data should be here we are taking as a plot, and you can observe here we are not getting this day. In the plot you cannot observe the day column because it is a string format. We cannot plot that strings in visualization. For visualization we cannot take strings, and it will plot only integer kind of data. That's why it will show you only serial number, temperature, wind speed, not date. Okay. Am I clear, students, how the plotting can be happen? So it will automatically generate x and y values. I'm already telling you that. So based on the range in the based on our in the values of data set, it will automatically generate and x and y values. Otherwise, it will take. Let's assume. Okay, if you want to description, you just go through this one of 1 second. Okay, see the description once. So it doesn't take anything. If you want to pass it, you can pass it. In the upcoming sessions we can see what arguments that can takes to plot. So make plots of series or data frame. It can plot either series object as well as data frame object. Plotting backend there may be use some kind of matplotlib to plot this, and parameters that can takes data and x and y. This x and y we are not passing, it will automatically generates. And so here also you can pass some kind of type of plots, either line plot, bar plot, hist plot, box plot, all those things. So we will see all the plots in the next day, tomorrow, Monday class. And by using data frame also you can plot subplots. Yeah. So we are not specifying these x and y values. Based on the range of our input values, it will automatically generate that x and y. If you want to work on this more, we will see the matplotlib so that you will get more clarity. Okay, that matplotlib will be discussed on Monday class. Okay. So that's it about the today's session. If you have any doubts, stay back in the meeting. I will clarify your doubts. Thank you one and all. And we will meet you on the Monday with this new meeting ID. So try to save this meeting ID, and with that meeting ID only you're going to connect it. So thank you one and all.